viewers and listeners. Thank you for joining me today for In This World, a podcast for life's journey through tough times. This is episode 4 in our Coping with Loss series, and we'll be talking about help for the holidays. So, for those of you who've been listening from the beginning, you may remember that my son passed away just a few days before Mother's Day. So, that was really the first holiday, if you will, that I experienced without my son. And of course, it being Mother's Day was, really important in the sense that, first of all, I realized that I'm still a mom and I will be for the rest of my life because my son Sebastian lives in my heart and he will always be my son and I will always be his mom. So it made sense that Mother's Day still matters to me, and it did that day. It was very difficult, of course, but we had made plans, as we always had, to go to the same restaurant that we would celebrate Mother's Day at. And he typically would bring me a charm for my Pandora bracelet. And so here we were with a tradition that had developed over years, and we already had the reservations at the restaurant just 10 minutes from my home. And here we are, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days after my son had passed away, and I had to make a choice. Do I cancel that reservation or do we go and have dinner at this restaurant for Mother's Day? And so I chose to go because it felt like I needed something that would bring my son kind of to life, if you will. And that was a place that had so many good memories. And so I chose to go. My husband and I went. And of course, there were some tears. It wasn't easy, but I really did feel close to my son there. And it did bring back a lot of very happy memories. So the first thing that I'm sharing with you is this. You may really want to not continue some traditions that you've had because you feel like it's just too painful. But I would encourage you that, keep some of those traditions going because, and it brings back a lot of really good memories too. So that was Mother's Day. And my husband did buy me a Pandora charm and kept that tradition going. So something that says mom or something mother's related. And I think that's really sweet, a great tradition to keep going. So a month later was my son's birthday. And a friend of mine who had fairly recently also lost her son to a drug overdose, whose son had passed away, mentioned to me about writing a letter to my son on his birthdays. And I thought, what a, great idea. And so I did. I wrote him a letter. And in that letter, I was able to cover a number of things. First, I was able to talk about his life and the impact that he had on my life. And I wrote these things down in this letter. I also expressed how I was feeling at the time. And then if you have regrets, things that you wish you had done together or plans for the future that you thought you'd have, this is another great place to write those down. I think there's a lot of benefit in writing these things down. These are thoughts that are going through our minds all the time as we're thinking of, our departed loved one. And so being able to write these things down is very helpful. And then sharing updates on what's happened in your life in the time that's gone by. So in this case, it had only been a month, and it was really just about writing how much I missed him. But I will tell you that now that it's been 18 months, that on his next birthday, I wrote another letter. And my plan is to continue doing that for the rest of my life, to write these letters to my son and do just what I described. So at some point, I may decide to go back and read them. To be honest, I haven't done that yet. So I've written 2 letters and I haven't read them, but I wrote them. And I found it to be, again, very, very helpful from a grieving standpoint, emotionally, to put things on paper and kind of get them out, if you will. The other thing for his birthday that we did was we went to the rodeo. So my son loved the rodeo. We had gone to the rodeo the year before for his birthday. And decided that we would go and honor him by going to the rodeo. And again, these things initially are hard to do, but it does bring them to life in a way that I can't describe, but that makes you feel like they're almost there with you. If there's something that you traditionally would do on birthdays, that might be something that you'd want to continue or try to do from time to time, or, a year or two, and see how that works for you. The other thing that I was doing in this time frame was I started thinking about the holidays and thought about how difficult they were going to be to go through Thanksgiving and Christmas without my son for the first time in 26 years. And so I decided to plan a vacation, and I planned a trip to Hawaii so that I could be someplace that we hadn't been to in a very long time, someplace that was warm and that I felt like I could be in nature, away from everything, and again have some peace and time to reflect on memories and have some healing during the holidays. So it may not be Hawaii, but the idea of having something to look forward to during the holidays, which we know can be such a difficult time, especially if you've lost a loved one during that time frame, or within that year, or really, honestly, I mean, we're going into the second holiday season for me, and it's still not easy. And for those, when I think about my dad passing away so many years ago, I mean, it takes a while to get to a new state of being, where the holidays aren't so melancholy, where you're not feeling the pain of the loss as much. So having something to look forward to, I think, is a great thing to do. A plan. It doesn't have to be a long trip away. It could be just an activity or something special that you want to plan to do for you. So planning something like that for the holidays. And that's something that we can do right now. Thanksgiving weekend has just gone by, and we have a month to go before Christmas, or the holiday that you celebrate is coming up. New Year's will be coming up after that. So sometime in this time frame, if you haven't already, try to plan something special for you. Keep that positive focus. I think that's something that really has helped me not to dwell on my sadness or my grief, but to find some things to find joy in the midst of it. So here we are, it's Thanksgiving, and what better time to count your blessings, right? This is a time where we say thank you for what we've had, and I will thank God forever for giving me my son for the time that I had him in my life. I'm just so thankful that he was here for the time that he was, and that we shared that time together. So Thanksgiving, focus, try to make it an attitude of gratitude, try to make it positive, to think of those things that you are thankful for. And part of what we're thankful for too, beyond the time that we share together and the happy memories that we have, are the friends and family who've supported us along the way. So be thankful for them. And I want to share that it's important um, to connect with people. We've talked about this a little bit, but do not think that people can read your mind to know what you need. Please reach out, connect with a trusted friend, a trusted family member, that you know that if you tell them what you need, they're going to hear you. They're going to listen to you. So even if it's just that you need a little companionship, maybe there's a particular time, like I talked about birthdays, or Mother's Day, or Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, whatever these days are, and you need some support, ask for it. Don't assume that people are going to think that, oh, I really need to reach out to her and see how she's doing. Sometimes people are very hesitant because they don't want to disturb us. And that's why it's so important to reach out and ask for that companionship, ask for someone to do something with you, whether it's to go shopping or to go get lunch or just to come over to the house and spend some time together, be sure to express those needs. And and if it is that trusted friend or family member, this is someone that you can speak to about the sadness that you're feeling during the holidays, how much you're missing, just share your memories that you've had, and just have a nice visit together. I think phone calls are good, but there's nothing like an in-person time spent together. So again, be willing to speak out, share, ask for that kind of help or support. I know sometimes we can get angry because we're not getting the support that we need. And again, the most important point is don't expect people to know. Please share what your needs are. Feel comfortable. Know that it's okay to do that. People aren't going through what you're going through. And so maybe they can't understand what it is, but they certainly can be there for you. And I know that people want to. So ask for that companionship, ask for comfort, and especially do that during this holiday season. I know that these are times where the focus is also on gift giving. And so you may find comfort in, if there was a typical gift that your loved one would give you that you would expect to receive, that you actually go and buy that for yourself and have it given to you in their spirit. So for me, again, we talked about the Pandora bracelets. My son's the only one who bought me these bracelets. I have a silver one and he bought me a gold one as well. That's beautiful. I love it. So I will get a charm, or my husband will get me a charm and put it in a package from my son, again, for Mother's Day and for Christmas. So I think it's sweet. Again, he lives on in this way. And so finding some unique ways through the holiday gift giving season to have that little gift there. I have a friend whose husband passed away this year, and he had the foresight to provide flowers on their anniversary. So, but not all of us have someone who knows what's coming and can prepare that way. But what a special gift that was for her, to know that his love endured even beyond his life in this world. And that's something that we do know, is that love endures. Love endures. You don't have to be present to feel that love. We can be apart from each other in terms of distance and still feel love. So, of course, we can still feel love from our departed ones. The other thing that you can do, you may not feel like, hey, I want to get a gift for myself and say it's from, my loved one, but it could be that you give a gift in their memory. And could be something small scale, doesn't have to be something really big, but this is a way of honoring them. And I think that that's an important thing for us to do as well as our lives move forward, is to find ways to honor the ones that we loved who have gone on before us. Now, I know that with this kind of loss, our lives are changed forever. And I am in no way trying to not acknowledge the magnitude of the pain and the sorrow that we feel, especially during the holidays when those loved ones would be with us, and now they're not. So in that case, I would say that it is important to find ways to allow yourself to have those feelings. For me, it could be watching certain movies that evoke some of these emotions, just finding some time for myself, writing, again, a letter or journaling in my journal, finding ways to express those feelings. And we don't always want to share it with someone else. So journaling is one of those ways for us to express it to ourselves, just with ourselves. The holidays are a time of tradition. And so I would encourage you to keep some of those traditions going. You may feel like, you know what? I don't want to bring the tree out. I don't want to decorate the house. I don't want to do anything this holiday season. So maybe just on a small scale, find a little bit of that tradition. Maybe you don't want to put up a big tree. So you get a little tree and you put it over maybe by where you have a little memorial for the person, for your loved one. I understand. That first Christmas, I did not want to decorate. I didn't want to do a lot of the things that had always brought me so much joy for so many years and that I loved sharing with my son and with my family and with my friends. And now here my family and my friends are still here, but just my son is not. And it just took so much of the joy away for me in that time. But I did take a few things out, a garland over the fireplace, a little tree. When I looked at it, it did give me joy. And doing it gave me something to do that kept my mind on that and not on how much I was, feeling sad or missing my son. So there is some benefit in keeping some of that tradition going. Now, my house had always been one of great social activity, and I just didn't feel that year. And that's okay too. And people will understand if you say, you know what, not this year. I don't want to have a big party. I don't want to have this social gathering. It's okay. Just have a friend over or just spend time with your immediate family. It's okay. So some things will change. Time will tell if you want to go back to all of the traditions that you had, but it's okay to maybe minimize and do things on a smaller scale to give yourself a little grace and give yourself a break. Give yourself time to heal. Give yourself time to reflect. This is important to allow ourselves that during the holidays, especially to nurture ourselves. I do think that there are some activities that you can do that bring peace, that bring laughter, that maybe bring tears too, but that's okay. Whatever those things are that you like to do, curling up in a blanket and watching a romantic comedy is always a good one for me at the holidays. There are a few that I watch every year, like Love Actually and a couple of others. I do a Harry Potter movie binge. I kept that going. Some things, it's who I am, and I needed that. And to just keep some things going. But there are other activities that you can do: reading, painting. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to express some of those emotions, get those feelings out. It's not good to bottle things up inside. And I know in the holidays, because sometimes it can be so busy and we're rushing and doing this and that we can get those feelings bottled up inside. And that's just not healthy at all. So allow those feelings to come out and just, let good memories lift your spirits. When you are feeling sad or depressed or you're really missing them, give yourself that moment where you say, hey, but remember this experience and remember that experience. And you can actually get a smile on your face in the midst of those tears by remembering happy memories. So I say, really cling to those memories, hold them close, and let them minister to you. So, New Year's, here we go now. We're into the next holiday. This is just one holiday after the other for the next month and a half. And New Year, we're always so optimistic about what it's bringing. And here we are in the midst of some despair looking at this new year and thinking, well, how can I celebrate another year? I don't even know how I'm getting through this one. So my advice is to just make some kind of plan, have something to look forward to. Whatever that is, starting a new course, taking a trip, visiting a friend that you haven't seen in a while, something that you can look forward to in that new year. So take that, write that little note down for yourself. And as you're approaching, the end of the year, make sure you've got something to look forward to in the new year and make that what you think about on New Year's Eve and into New Year's Day and into that new year. And then my last thought is lean on Jesus through it all. Take some time and start reading your Bible. If that isn't something that you've done before, I know that God loves us and He knows everything that we're going through. He knows every tear that you've cried. He knows every time you've reached out and wanted to touch that loved one and they're not there anymore. And he's there with us in every moment of every day. He never leaves us. So God is always there with you. If you don't have someone to talk to, you can always talk to Jesus. He is right there waiting to hear from you. He says, knock on the door and I will open it. So he is literally right there waiting for you. And if you haven't let yourself receive his love, because it is an amazing healing love, and you want to understand more about who Jesus is, start by reading the book of John. A lot of people don't really know how to read the Bible or where to start to learn about Jesus, but the book of John in the New Testament of the Bible is a great starting point. And as we approach Christmas and we celebrate Jesus's birth, and so many people do celebrate Christmas, let this be a time where you learn about who Jesus is and let him help you through these difficult times. Remember to hug your loved ones while they're still here, while you're still here, because tomorrow isn't promised. Show that love, show that appreciation. My mother-in-law would say, give me flowers while I'm here to appreciate them. And her point is, how many times do people give flowers at a funeral? But the loved one isn't going to appreciate them then. So take the time during these holidays to really connect with your loved ones, the people who've been special in your life. Tell them how much you care about them. Show that love and let that be part of your healing process too. I know loss can be so difficult to endure. And if you're finding it overwhelming, please reach out to a grief counselor or a grief group. They're there to support you and help you. Sometimes your family and friends are not what you need, and you need people who've been through this or are going through it. Get that help. You should never bear these burdens alone. So please do not isolate yourself. I know during the holidays, sometimes people tend to do that and really go inside. Please don't isolate yourself. Please reach out. Or if you know someone who's grieving or coping with loss, reach out to them, connect with them so that they're not alone or feeling alone. Let them know that your friendship is a bridge to help them in this difficult road and that you're going to journey through it together. So be well. Please join me next week as we finish up this series on coping with loss. Thank you and God bless you.